So this is the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, and I've had it for about 1 week, and I'm going to go ahead and share with you my honest review and thoughts about this phone so far. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and let's begin by talking about the price for value. Now, I've had this phone for about a week. This is my own unit. I have been covering the phone for about 2 weeks, but this is my unit. That's why I'm calling it 1 week later, because I've only had this phone for 1 week. This is the online exclusive titanium jet black, and I will tell you, this color definitely doesn't look pure black. It's got like more of a dark slate gray color tone to it. In certain lightings, you could say black, but to me, it's more of a grayish looking phone, like a dark gray. However, I don't know if they could get titanium full pure black, although I would like that. One thing I will note about this phone is I like how they moved the reception, the 5G antenna up here. Now, on the 16 Pro Max, one of the competitors, they do have it kind of invisible, but at least they moved this up here so you can kind of like not touch it while you're using it. And it's led to really great signal strength, honestly. It's something people don't talk about a lot in reviews, but it has made a difference. I never really dropped signal because of that one implementation they made there. Now you can pick this thing up still. There's like a day left for pre-orders. So the savings should still roll in, but you're going to miss them if you go after tomorrow until maybe another holiday or something like that when they throw some more discounts. So for me, I got all these cases with the phone, including some of the kind suitcases like this one right here. I also got a silicone case and a few other add-ons with this device, plus a $600 discount. So this phone right here to me was definitely worth the price I paid, which was about $700 for this one right here. At retailing at $1,300, that is a massive discount, and it was an instant discount. I didn't have to wait for the discount. It was instant. You send the phone, your trade-in phone, and you're done. You move on. As long as you don't lie and you send the proper thing, you should be good to go. The second thing I want to talk about, now that we're done talking about the price or value, is the lightness of the phone. So this phone has been immediately evident how light it is to hold. Now, don't get it twisted. This is still a big phone, but the lightness day to day is very apparent. So one of the things I'm loving about this versus last year's S24 Ultra is it's just less bulky. It's like it feels shorter, and it just feels way more comfortable to hold. And it's something that at first, it doesn't look quite as premium with that more like the Ultra of last year looking just a little bit more unique with the rounded corners. It definitely looks a little bit more like some other Android phones out there. So I'm thinking like the OnePlus 13R kind of looks similar to this, honestly. It doesn't look like overly exciting, but when you actually hold it and use it, due to the flat edges, the lighter build, and the rounded corners, this phone is an easy phone to hold for a big phone. So if you've been using big phones for a while, you know they can get really annoying, heavy, bulky, and just unergonomic. This one definitely improves that. However, I would state if you do want a better ergonomic feel, of course, I'm always going to recommend the S25 and the S25 Plus. This one's still a little bit bigger, but I like how Samsung has managed to go ahead and retain their signature rectangular look. Now, a lot of people are upset because it doesn't really look quite as unique as it used to. Like it doesn't stand out as much, and that's when you're looking at videos and pictures. But I assure you, where the value is lying in this phone is the ergonomic experience day to day. It is an improvement, and it doesn't make me want to go back to using the S24 Ultra. It really doesn't, just for the feel in the hand. I'm loving the lightness of this phone. I would argue this is the best feeling Samsung Ultra since the S21 Ultra, which was several years ago. So that's saying a lot. If you've been wanting a better feeling in the hand, Ultra phone, finally, it's here. But I do think they could work to make it even more comfortable. They can always improve it. There's never an end to continuous improvement. That's what we're here on Earth to do, to continuously improve in any way, shape, and form that we see fit for our lives. Let's move on to the display. The display, as usual, is stunning for a Samsung phone. One of the things that stands out the most to me on this phone is the anti-reflective coating. You could see that even with that bright light, it's not too reflective. It's just a lot less glare than you'll find on some other phones. I also really appreciate its higher than 1080p resolution, which is found on the base model. You can also get the 2K resolution on the S25 Plus as well. And you can also play around in settings. If we go over here, settings, scroll down, we'll go to display. We'll scroll down a bit more. We'll go to screen mode. You'll see vivid and natural. But if we scroll down more, screen resolution at 1440p. That's QHD plus, so quad HD. It's not quite 4K, but 4K is kind of overkill on a phone anyway. FHD plus is what comes out of the box though. So do tweak that up if you want higher resolution. But one of the things I like about this phone that some people won't agree with me on is that Samsung is no longer overly vivid with their latest smartphone displays. They're actually kind of a balance between good color, good anti-reflectivity, and a natural look, so a little bit more accurate reproduction. For me, this looks a lot better when you are just daily using it because it's not like overly searingly saturated in your eyes. Some people tend to prefer that very zingy saturated look though, especially if they love to consume media and videos and maybe Netflix and stuff like that, or streaming services. I think you'll probably miss some of those older Samsungs, but if you read a lot in daily use, this one is definitely easier on the eye. And especially if you're editing photos and videos on your phone, this one is going to be better. It's just a little bit more accurate. However, I do see where people are kind of annoyed that it's not quite as saturated as some of the older Samsungs. I mean, back in the day, you can go in the store, you'll see the Samsung next to like the iPhone or anything, and it just looks so much more vivid. It will just pop out the display like right off the phone. So they don't really have that look anymore. And for some people, that's a downgrade, but technically it's still a brighter, sharper, more anti-reflectivity than ever before display. So it's technically a better display if we want to get technical. But it's really going to come down to that personal preference. This is one of those I would definitely recommend you go to the store, check it out first, check with the settings, display settings before you just purchase it, because you might be disappointed if you really love those overly saturated Samsung displays. Now, one area I really like about the Samsung S25 Ultra is the software, and not because it has some crazy massive changes. One UI 7 does bring a pretty different look, but it's more of a polished upgrade. Everything is looking a little bit more cohesive. Like they have like this pill shaped stuff going on here, and everything just looks a little bit nicer. Some people will argue some of the icons look cheaper. I've heard that before. I personally don't see it. I think it's a really nice piece of software when it comes to the feature set. It's definitely one of those phones where you're not really lacking too much for features. As a matter of fact, almost everything you could think of when it comes to features is kind of here, including things like split screen multitasking, integrated AI across the board, interpreters. You do have summarize with notes, summarize with the Samsung Internet Browser. If we go ahead and scroll up to Galaxy AI, you'll see that we do have call assist, the writing assist, note assist, the list goes on. And my favorite feature so far has been the audio eraser, which I have used, and it is pretty useful. It actually works. I actually don't need to take a microphone if I want to shoot a video outside. We just had an ice storm, so I'm not doing that at the moment, but definitely when I do, it's going to be pretty nice. But you do have to process this on device only, so some people might not want to trust that. So AI is still in its infancy. It did come out like last year, big time. Year before that, it was being like really introduced. Now more people are catching on and starting to use it, but I still think it's a very, very early stage for everyone to care so much about this so much. But we got to talk about the bleeding edge stuff, and this phone is on the bleeding edge of artificial intelligence. So definitely, I really do like that this has that, because it makes it a great long-term choice if you do decide you want to use that stuff now, or even later if you're not ready to use it. At least it's going to be on there. The software itself, though, I like the vertical app drawer. That's been fun. And I like that I just don't really want for features from other phones when using this one. There's not really much that entices me from other phones when I'm using the Ultra. Like there's no phone out there that really has like way different or way more enhanced features than what this phone has. It pretty much does everything. And for some people, that's kind of boring because there's nothing like super special. It just kind of does everything. But, at the same time, this device is crazy fast. You've been seeing in my speed test with the 8 Elite chipset, this thing has been blazing through pretty much everything you can throw at it. And while it does have a smooth look with the nonlinear animations, the thing is just super, super fast day to day. And that's something I've been noticing over my week, is especially the connectivity along with the chip. And 12 gigs of RAM hasn't held me back whatsoever. This thing absolutely blazes through everything. I mean, most of the phones I'm going to compare it to, they're getting cooked right now. They honestly are. They are just getting cooked. by this phone, really. So when it comes to the cameras, a lot of people are not a fan of these camera looking rings around the actual cameras themselves. I personally think it looks okay on this model. That's why I went with this color. Definitely, I don't like it so much on the other phones. I wish the rings would match the body. I think they look a little more fancy like that. But definitely, they don't really bother me too much, but they have been bothering a lot of people. So I do get where you're coming from. But cameras themselves, though, this might be one of my favorite options on the market today, and it's because of its versatility. It's just so good at everything. It can zoom, it can do ultra wides now at a sharper resolution. You can zoom 100 times. You can get photos of the moon. They brought the camera controls down further and enhanced the usability of the settings. So not only do some phones make you go into the settings just to get to the camera settings, I think you know which one I'm talking about. And here, Samsung is improving on what they already did well, which was having settings within the camera. They brought them down to one-handed over here, so you can get to these quick access controls. Also, they retain all those extras in here, like the Expert RAW, the Pro Video, and stuff like that. And while this one still has that typical Samsung softer look, there are a lot of settings you can tweak with and mess around with to make it look exactly how you like it. That's what I really like about this phone. I also love that they do log and they allow you to color correct right from the gallery. So you can color correct yourself if you want third-party software on your laptop, whatever. But if you want to just do a quick color correction, you could just shoot this video, go to the gallery, and quickly color correct. So it's there. If we go down to more, we also have dual recording, hyperlapse, panoramic, food modes. They're all there. And you can add some special filters as well as download the Expert RAW, which will really let you fine-tune everything. I love this phone because this camera feels like having an actual camera right in your pocket. Not just a quick camera or a quick phone photo shoot. No, this thing feels like you have the whole thing, like a true blown camera, like this one I'm using up here. This is like a Lumix up here. This camera has all these manual controls. This one has them as well. So this is truly something I would say would be a great introduction to photography, videography, and could take you a really long way before you might even need to invest into an actual camera. So Samsung kind of like went away from making real cameras and they invested a lot of R&D into the cameras and setup. So they know what they're kind of doing in the camera department, and it shows. It's been doing fantastic. Battery life on here has been very, very good. You know, at first it seems to go down a little fast. Once you kind of like use it for a few days, it kind of learns your usage, and the phone just lasts all day, even with heavy use. My con though with this phone is that it doesn't stay at 100 super long, but it kind of drains slow after like 90%. It also doesn't charge as fast as some competitors like OnePlus 13. However, it charges way faster on the 45-watt charger that you would have to use than the iPhone. So it still gives me really impressive battery life. And I would say light users could probably go 2 days on this phone. Heavier users, you're 1 day and a couple of hours, few hours. You'll probably want to top it off before you get started on your next day if you're a heavy user. But 5,000 though, I wish Samsung would have upped it. This phone really had the potential to really have an amazing battery. Right now, it's just good. It's pretty great, but it's not like, oh my. It's not like amazingly upgraded. Like I wish they would have went to 5,500, 5,400, like 6,000, something bigger than this. They stayed the same, and I do have to knock them there. We do have to see upgrades in the future, especially if we're going to be paying every year to upgrade. Let's see a bigger battery next time, Samsung. So I love that this phone had a SIM card slot. You can also use eSIM, so if you like eSIM, you're not into SIM cards anymore, you can do that too. This has multiple eSIM slots. You can also do within the digital settings over here, but you also can use a SIM card if you like that. The audio quality is good, especially with the Dolby Atmos turned on, so you don't really have to worry about the I/O either. Very fast transfer speeds through that USB-C over there. I do like that the punch hole is also pretty small compared to a lot of other Android phones. The bezels themselves are thinner, but you kind of forget about that after a couple of days. And you just kind of like dive into the phone experience. But it is the best Galaxy experience, I think, yet. And it should be. It's the latest. But this phone is not perfect. There are some letdowns with this phone. The first one is the S Pen. This phone doesn't no longer feel like it has a smart pen on it. It just feels like a stylus. And they did keep around the core functionality, like, creating notes, writing on calendar, Smart Select. But I just don't like how they got rid of the BLE features. It just makes it seem like they're taking a step back. I have talked about how it doesn't affect me personally, but I'm speaking for, what I think is for the market. A lot of the people in the market are going to want the top of the top. Me personally, like if I'm being subjective in my own opinion, I don't really use those features all that much, but still there's a part of me that says, you know what, they're taking a step back. One thing I would like to see is them to bring that back. Also, I don't like how this pen doesn't match the body. This one matches the titanium black. So the regular one with the titanium frame, they should have made that a black pen to match this phone. I'm guessing I could just go buy one, I guess, separately, but I'm not going to do that. Like, what's the point? The pen's not even that smart to begin with. It doesn't have the BLE features. So I wish that was not that color. It just doesn't make sense. There's no titanium look. There's no beige on this phone. Why is this pen beige? It doesn't make any sense. So next time, please keep the pen's color match, please. Thank you. And there's another area where my Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, I just got a week ago, I feel falls short. And it's just not innovative, groundbreaking looking hardware. Just the overall phone just feels like a small update if you had any of the past couple editions. But it definitely, where it really shows its value is kind of an invincible thing. You don't really see it. It's not on the surface. It's not like the looks of the phone, the feel of the phone. It's the lightness day to day. It's the speed, the enhancements to the AI. Like, it's kind of all in the user experience versus like, oh, look at me, brand new big phone, brand new huge hardware, massive changes. Like, no, from a marketing perspective, this one is hard to convince people that it's so much different from last year, but it's in the actual user experience where it matters. And that's where this phone has been really shining. And I just don't want to go back to using any S24 Ultra because this one just feels lighter to hold, more comfortable in the hand, better camera enhancements, especially for the pro side of things. It does have similar, if not a little bit better battery life, and it's just faster with better connectivity. So it's just better. Even if you don't like the way it looks by comparison, it's a better phone. Besides the S Pen, that one definitely not better. But the phone itself, I would say, is better. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know if you're picking up an S25 Ultra, you're waiting for another phone. And stay tuned to the channel because we're going to be covering all kinds of smartphones this year, including comparisons and more. So I'd love to see you around. Catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well. And peace.